So you want to make sure that your thought, your emotion, your behavior, and your action are aligned. Let me give you an example. If I think, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to start a diet. All right, Michael, you know what? I'm going to start a diet, right?
Yes.
And that I've got a feeling, an emotion that comes up. And basically, I feel that, you know what? Last time I started a diet, I lost 20 pounds, but I gained it back in 2 or 3 months. So my emotion's not going to be aligned with my thought, right? So with a mind clearing, we delete that thought, right? Do some other things, right? And we realign it like that. Like that, if I've got a goal, up, my thought,
Yeah.
my emotion, my behavior and action are aligned, you're unstoppable. There's doubt that comes along the way, you apply the mind clearing on that.
You are listening to the 5 a.m. podcast, and today is your day. Welcome to the 5 a.m. podcast. Please consider sharing this with 3 of your friends. I know that many are going to enjoy and profit from this conversation. Dr. Salas, good morning and welcome to the 5 a.m. podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction and bonjour, like we say in France,
Bonjour.
right?
Yes. Très bien.
Okay, super.
Yes. So, Alain, your journey from sailing boat rentals in the south of France, which is a pretty idyllic place, to becoming a mind-clearing expert in the U.S. is fascinating. What was that specific calling you experienced that prompted such a dramatic life change?
Yeah, you see, for me, life was about adventure, right? I wanted to be free because my dad was, he was pretty negative, right? That's why he
Okay.
got sick, by the way, and got disabled at 40 years old. And so for me, and of course, it was very strict. So I wanted freedom. And
Yes.
so what is the symbolism of freedom? Of course, a boat, a sailing boat, right? So I live
Yes.
on my sailing boat for like around a decade, right? And I was, party a lot, and I was living my life, right? I had started that business. I was fairly young, 21, 22 years old. And basically one day, almost out of the blue, I saw myself helping people, right? And so I just wondered what this is about, but it really touched my heart so much that I decided to sold my business basically and my boat and tell my parents. You have to understand, they used to call me the gypsy, right? And so
Okay.
I had long hair, party, and I said, oh, by the way, guys, I'm going to go to America to become a doctor. So I mean, of course they laugh at me, but when you're lucky enough and blessed enough to have your purpose given to you, right? I mean,
Yes.
you cannot say no. You have to try it, right? And so that's
Yes.
basically what started it.
Wow.
That's what started that fire, that purpose, right?
Right. Well, it's always great to hear those origin stories of that spark of life that comes to the
Exactly.
mind, and somebody thinks, man, life could be so much better, and I think I just got a vision. And we talk about, even from a Christian perspective, writing them down so that we can run and there's no obstacles, or there's less obstacles, because we've written it down and we have that mind and eye physical connection, and we have our gates that things go in and out of. Can you talk a little bit about that process? Not necessarily self-determination, but that individual determination to move forward despite maybe some of the obstacles or the naysayers that came to you.
Well, I'm sorry to say that, but it was not difficult because
Okay.
when you've got that so deep within yourself,
Yes.
there's no choice.
Yes.
Basically, I mean, just have to try it. The only things that was challenging to me, it's like nobody in my family was involved with healthcare system, no massage
Okay.
therapist, a
Yep.
chiropractor. I had no clue what it was. And so I started to talk to my client, right? And say, look, and the way I will describe it, it's like there's a brick of like a wall and I want to go to the other side, right? And there's no door. And so I started to talk about, my problem, right? And they say, and one of my clients say, you know what, Alain, there's a guy, a Chinese doctor, and he's going to come to visit me, and maybe you should talk to him, right? And so I say, yes, sure enough. And sure enough, I talked to him. He gave me free book to read.
Okay.
Was about like philosophy, like Oriental philosophy,
Okay.
the Tao Te Ching, right, which is a Chinese book, the Hara, which is in Japanese means belly, right, and Harakiri when they kill themselves,
Yes.
at the center of gravity. So there was a technique about that. And also the man between the sky and the earth, right? And
Mm,
so I
yes.
read all those books, right? And so after he told me, when you're done with working what we call the season, right? Which
Yep.
is basically during summertime, just come and come to see me. And sure enough, I went to see him. Of course, I read this book and talk about Chinese medicine. And he told me,
Hmm.
you know what, Alan, if you really want to know what you're doing, like I do, and he was really good actually. He said, you need to go to China, learn Chinese, be fluent, work on those old texts. And I said, hold on, Philip,
Okay.
I'm 30 years old. I want to practice one day. So he
Yes.
smiled and he looked at me. He said, you look strong. Why not chiropractic? And he gave me all the
Hmm.
information and the rest
Wow.
is history, right?
Wow. It's always so powerful to have, like when we have an appointed date with destiny almost,
Exactly.
of someone who you're searching and you're looking for what fits with what I believe my future is going to look like. And then our creator God brings those people in, and we weren't expecting this, but you meet and you realize, I feel like we're having a spiritual handshake or connection. We're being plugged into each other. We're going to get into the mind clearing, but there must have been some
Sure.
mind clearing then for you, even at this early stage of you thinking, well, I want to do this. I'm this many years, into my life. And it sounded like the Chinese doctor was saying, not a problem. Here's a roadmap. And so was there a few of the things then in your mind that you were very happy to empty out and to bring in some new beliefs?
First of all, my mindset has always been to realize your dream, no
Mm,
matter what. You
hmm.
are just to
Yeah.
you just have to go for it, right? That's why I
Yeah.
bought my boat. That's
Yep.
another story by itself, but I don't think it will be too interesting to go into that. But yeah, so I already in a way proved myself that I will put all my money in something, and
Yes.
after, all right, let's see what happens, right? And have the faith, right, that this will
Yes.
go well for me. And so, but with this calling, just it's like when you know that you know,
Yes.
right? And you know
Yes.
that you know, and there's no way you cannot do it, right? And
Yeah.
so, of course, yeah, I have to separate. I have to basically almost learn a new language, right? And
Yes.
that for me was nothing, right? It was not like something that, oh my goodness, what can go wrong? No, it was more excitement, right?
Yes.
To discover, it was another adventure, if you want, for me, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I say, okay, what is the worst case scenario? Okay, it doesn't work out. Okay, I come back and I do something else, right? And so I always had that free spirit, if I can say that. That's why they used to call me the gypsy, right? And
Yeah.
so, and I was ready. I mean, there's no way I could have not done that. I mean, it was not even a thought. There was
Right.
not even a doubt about that. So again, when something touch your heart, I mean, you are unstoppable, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and I have to confess that my brain was kind of rusty, right?
Mm.
Obviously, but just like they say in sport, like one day at a time, right? And not
Mhm.
even not even worrying about it. I know it's hard. People will say, man, that guy is crazy, and maybe I am, right? but
Yeah.
yeah, you have to live your life that way. You have to
Yes.
at least try, especially when you've got dreams that have touched your heart. There's no way you cannot try it.
Yes. That's right. And so to be spiritually sensitive to those dreams and to that information that comes that way. And perhaps there's some people listening, they're driving in their car on their way to work and they're thinking, man, I feel like I take a couple steps forward and then one or two steps back. Would you say that that might be that cycle of limiting beliefs that can affect entrepreneurs?
Oh,
And
definitely,
yeah, can you talk a little bit
definitely.
about that how do we get off of that cycle if we feel like we've made progress but then we just get pushed back?
Well, first of all, we have to understand, Michael, how the mind works, right? Because
Mm,
I mean, we need to get our foundation right in order to talk about it.
yes,
So,
that's right.
and unfortunately, there's lots of people, or most of the people, they don't know how it works. I mean, our mind is our better asset, right? That's our
Yes.
connection to God, right? I mean,
Yes, that's
a
right.
part of it. And so we better know what's going on, or try to understand what's going on down there. So
Yes.
it's kind of like, Michael, if you want, we live in two separate worlds at the same time.
Hmm.
right? So it means like we've got the outside world, and the outside
Yeah.
world is what we are aware of. So what are we aware of? Our thought,
Yep.
our emotion, our behavior, and our action. That's what we call our self identity, our
Right.
personality, and this we're going to call the conscious mind. And after my call, we've got like more like an inner mind, a hidden
Mm-hmm.
mind, a
Yeah.
secretive mind. We don't really know what's going on down there. And we're going to call it the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And that subconscious mind, Michael, record everything you have been doing in your life from age zero to now. All your skill as a podcaster, as a journalist, maybe a dad, are
Yes.
stored in your subconscious mind, right? All the automatic process in your body, meaning you don't have to think about it, like your
Mm-hmm.
breathing, like your heartbeat, like your digestion, are coming from your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And so I started to be very intrigued. Okay, what is that subconscious mind, right? And so I'm going to I'm going to make two comments about it,
Okay.
if you're okay. So
Yeah.
the first one, what is the percentage of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind? So you can Google whatever I said anytime. I don't know if you got an
Yes.
idea. Do you have an idea, Michael?
No, I don't.
So the conscious mind, who you think you are, right?
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
know, what you're aware of,
Yeah.
it's only 5 or 10% of your mind. Meaning the subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of your mind. Meaning, if I want to transform myself, if I want to grow,
Yeah.
if I want to heal myself, right? What we focus on? We focus only on the conscious mind.
Mm.
It means we are using only 5 or 10% of mind power. So I
Wow.
thought to myself, why not bringing the subconscious mind to the party and use 100% of
Yes.
our mind power? That's
Yeah.
what the mind clearing is about, sir.
Wow. That's powerful. It's like while you were talking, I was thinking it seems like there's the conscious realities, but internal kingdoms. And
Yeah.
we don't yeah, outside worlds versus the internal kingdoms. Boy, that's when we think of it in those terms of we're ingrained and we're taught, just use the 5 to 10% capacity. And so how can we, or maybe this, what are some of the advantages of that other 90 to 95% of our brain that's subconscious?
All right. Well, let me make one more point and I will
Okay.
answer that
Yes.
question, right? So
Yes.
the other point, it's like right now, my conscious mind, with our conversations, getting
Mhm. Mhm.
information or data at 11 bits per second. The
Mm.
subconscious mind is getting data at 11 million bits per second.
Wow.
So right now, what I'm aware of, it's a little bit, and all what we're not aware of that we're getting is stored in our subconscious mind.
Wow.
That's crazy. So we've got so much more than, and when the invisible, it's
Yeah.
so much more powerful, right? It's like
Yes.
right now we're communicating. I can see you on my screen. You can
Yes.
see me on my screen. We can talk, but all the waves that go to satellite to go to everywhere, all that
Yes.
is all those frequencies are not visible. They're
Yeah.
not visible.
Right.
That's the one who are doing the trick, right?
Mm.
We make it real for us because, yes, we are aware of it because I can see you and
Yeah.
my senses can detect it. But really, the magic it's in the invisible,
Right.
right? In the unaware.
Yes. Yes. So before you continue, as you were
Sure.
talking, I was just thinking about even as a young boy, I always knew what time it was instinctively within
Mhm.
just a few minutes on the clock. And then the other thing is I always knew if there was someone around that I couldn't see. And so later, not that much later in life, once I started to realize this, and there was a time where my friends and I and my older brother, we were looking out into the field behind our house, and we had a lot of woods off to the side, and I could see this big, almost like this very large pillar star-shaped light. And I was asking, I knew where it was in the woods because my brother and I would adventure all the time in the property that we had. And so I knew the spot where I was looking and I could see this large pillar of light. And I must have been maybe 8 years old. And I was telling my brother and Paul and Robert, the two friends of ours, that I could see this light. It was dark. So completely dark, no sunlight, no moonlight. And so all of them are like, "You're crazy." And then my friend Robert pipes up and he says, "Oh yeah, that's a big light." And he told me later, he said, "Michael, I couldn't see the light, but I didn't want you to look foolish because none of us could see it except for you." And so that led me into discovering more of how there's that spiritual part of you, that soul part of you that goes out even as you're looking. And that's sometimes why you can tell there's eyes on you, because I know I'm just scratching, not even scratching the surface probably, but I would love for you to go on just to talk about the power of the subconscious brain.
Yeah, mind. That's
Mind,
different because
mind.
there's a
Okay, good. Thank you.
confusion with brain and mind, and I will talk about it
Thank you
because I
for
think
that.
it's very important to. Yeah, well, so we know that it's 90, to
Yes.
95% of your mind, right? We know that um, we don't speak the same language, right? We cannot
Yes.
communicate with it, right? And so the
Mm-hmm.
mind clearing, when I used to travel a lot, Michael, the most frustration that I had is to meet a cool guy like you, and I
Ah.
could not communicate because I didn't speak the same language. So I was like, with hands, and there's so far you
Yep.
can go, right? So I think in my field, the problem is like, they don't speak the same language but the
Mm.
subconscious mind, and what
Mm-hmm.
they ask you to do in order to change it, right? They're asking you to do lots of repetition of affirmation,
Mm.
visualization, write down things. I mean, and that's just crapshoot, right? And
Yes.
whatever stick, right?
Yes.
And
Right.
so that's not what you want. And so what you have to know, what your audience have to know, that we all have been programmed. So you
Wow.
have been programmed, I have been programmed, everybody listening to that program has been programmed.
Yeah.
So, disclaimer before I go further,
Okay.
we can be programmed at any age and any time.
Hey, 5 a.m. friends. We're on a mission to bring these transformative conversations to a greater audience through more FM radio, cable TV, and Roku TV. And we need your help to make that happen. If you've found value in our discussions, please consider supporting this expansion at buymeacoffee.com/5am podcast. That's the number 5 AM podcast. Your contribution helps us create more content, improve our production quality, and build a stronger community of early risers committed to growth and encouragement. Every dollar brings us closer to our goal. Thanks for being part of this journey. Together, we're changing lives one morning momentum at a time. Yeah.
But around the age of, it's funny you mentioned 8 years old, right?
Yes.
Around the age of 0 to 7 to 8 years old, our brain wave are function differently. We've
Hmm.
got theta wave, we've got beta wave, and we are like sponges. And what we see in the outside world, we assume is the truth.
Yeah.
So you assume several times after it becomes a program, and that program is stored in your subconscious. So because we talk about program, let's make the analogy of a mind and a computer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the brain will be the hard drive. That's the physical
Okay.
aspect of your computer. That's your hard drive. Your subconscious mind is your software. That's your programming.
Mm.
That's the boss.
Yeah.
The output of a software or your subconscious mind, right, is your conscious mind. So the output is the conscious mind, and your behavior is reflected on the screen of life.
Wow.
So if I've got good programming, right, we call that
Yes.
empowering belief, but it doesn't matter, right? It's good programming, good quality programming. You tell me, hey, Alain, how you doing? I say, oh, never better. I'm going to love my screen of life, right? I mean,
Yes.
everything is great and all that, right? And I'm having great days. I cannot believe I created that technique that's going to help millions,
Uh-huh.
and all that, okay? Now, if I've got lots of negative programming, and they call that limiting belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to tell me, Alan, how you doing? I'm saying, oh man, life is a struggle, everybody is successful, and why me? It's always I'm the
Yes.
only one that is not good. Why it's always me? And so you have tendency to be, instead of being a creator, right, or a
Yeah.
co-creator, you're gonna be blaming on your circumstances, right,
Yeah.
and your circumstances gonna defining you
Mm.
instead of the opposite, right, and so
Yes.
that's basically how it works, and so those program that you got actually most of the time from other people, like in your
Yes.
life, right? And
Right.
maybe some trauma that you had and things like that. They are from your past. So it's kind of like your past is dictating your present and molding your future, right? Let me give you a short example.
Yeah.
I think it will
Yeah.
be helpful for the audience. So let's pretend there's a little girl that see her dad is an alcoholic, drunk
Okay.
every night, come back home, beat up his wife. What do you think that little girl's gonna attract as a romantic relationship down the road?
Mm.
What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, the same thing that she's growing up with.
Exactly, an abusive relationship. So let me make two comments about that.
Yeah.
So now that she's a woman, right? She's in that relationship, okay? So I ask her, oh, by the way, do you enjoy to get beat up like your mom? The
Mm.
conscious mind, she's going to say no, but the subconscious mind has been programmed as men are predators and women are prey. So now, like, there's another question that comes up. How she's going to attract that guy? She's going to say, oh, by the way, come over and beat me
Yeah.
up, right? It's
Yeah.
not going to work like the way. So, in a way, when you were talking about spirituality, and we're going to go
Yes.
higher if you want,
Yes.
um, it's kind of our subconscious mind are connected to each other. It doesn't mean that, that's why we
Hmm.
say, some people say all one or things like that. It means we are connected and we don't know because we're not aware of, right? But
Yeah.
that's the only plausible explanation for that. And so let me play the role of the subconscious mind of that little girl, right?
Yes.
So I'm the subconscious mind of a little girl, and I'm going to communicate to my conscious mind. And she's going to say, hey, look at this guy. He's a bullied. He has been bullied when he was young. Now he becomes a bully. He's got the predator program that's a perfect match for you.
Yeah.
Fall in love with him. And now if I'm the subconscious mind to the bully, to the man who's got the predator program, she'll say, oh, look at that girl. She's got the prey program. It's a perfect match, fall in love with her. And like opposite attract, or it takes
Yes.
two to tango,
Yes.
they're going to fall in love. And so we all have heard of relationship like that. Case scenario number one, what can happen? Well, she get married with a guy, stay stuck in that relationship for the rest of her life.
Mm.
Even, she got beat up, will call the cops and never press charges. And we all wondering why she doesn't press charges. That's crazy. You all beat up and all that. Because of that programming. That's how powerful that programming is.
Yeah.
Everybody is playing their role.
Mm.
And so case scenario number two, she got beat up and after she said, oh, I'm done with him, and find another relationship and got the same problem, right? And so it's kind of like when there's a fire, Michael, and you put your finger and you say, oh man, it hurts. It
Yes.
burned. You put your finger twice and you say, okay, I've learned my lesson, I'm not going to put my finger in the fire. Well, those women, there's two kind of reaction. The first one, there's a certain awareness and she will say, Dr. Salas, don't talk to me about men. I'm done with them. It doesn't work for me. I try. It always ends up the same way. And because we can learn from our life experiences, if you truly heal from that, what will happen? She's going to attract a man that is totally different, that
Hmm.
nurture her, that respected her, that see her as an equal, right? And
Yeah.
truly love her and is not remotely abusive to her. That's how you know that you can heal. And case scenario number three, she can come, for example, to see me and we can delete all that programming that she had.
Yeah. So these I'll call them root issues. You might have a better terminology, but
Oh,
it
that's good.
sounds to me like a root issue that actually needs the mind to be renewed or created. Maybe some let's say some cables of information to be severed in that. But it sounds to me like this could be the reason why someone is overweight. This could be the reason why someone is poor or always in debt perhaps. So what then are some of those techniques that you teach people to to be able to sever those ties, or maybe there's other ways of my a guest that I had on yesterday that I was recording with, we were talking about soul ties and those attachments in past relationships. But I'll give you the floor and you can kind of maybe clear up my language, or explain to us how we can identify and then recover.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to make sure people understand it doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay.
Right, I can talk about that, make it as complicated as I want, right? But
Okay.
what's the
Yeah.
purpose? I want you to understand. And I
Yeah.
think, why, if I cannot explain something simply, it means I
Yeah.
don't own it. You see what I
That's
mean?
good.
That's how I
Yes,
see
that's
it.
very good.
Yeah, that's how I see it. So it's like when you've got a program in your computer and it doesn't work for you. What are you going to do? You're going to press delete, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
After, you're going to go to the Play Store. You're going to download step number two. You're
Uh-huh.
going to download the program that you want that will work better. And after, remember, on your screen, you're going to be pleased with the outcome. So basically, the three step of a mind clearing, you delete what you don't want. You don't have to identify it. When you put your computer in the trash, your program in the trash, it
Yes.
doesn't work. You're not going to look for, oh, what was wrong with it. No, you get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
number one, you delete what you don't want, you download what you want, and after, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to manifest that into your life, to create that into your life, that
Mm.
you can see that in your screen of life, right? Because we are physical beings, we need to experience things. If I decided I'm going to start a business, and I say, okay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to be on my couch watching TV, right? I don't take any
Yes.
action. I mean, you get the experience of life by doing things, by taking
Yeah.
action and all that,
Yes.
right? And so,
Yeah.
so that's what the mind clearing is about. So whatever you don't need, first of all, you don't need to identify your limiting belief. And anyway, can you even think it's possible? Because you're going to use 5 or 10% of your mind power, which is your conscious
Mhm.
mind, to identify 90 to 95% of your mind. That's going to be challenging, right? And some of them, they are totally hidden from your conscious mind, right? When you've got a
Mhm.
trauma that is too big, the subconscious mind will suppress that, right? You don't even
Right.
have recollection, and it can come back after
Mm.
when you are more ready, right? And so it's very simple, Michael.
Wow. Well, that's so, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just do a little call to you as you're listening or watching. We have that comment section, and both Alain and I would love to hear from you and to maybe
Sure.
hear some of your experiences, or maybe there's some things, maybe you deal with some critical thinking all the time of you only remember your mistakes. And somebody could say, hey, Jim, I remember when you really helped me out with this, and you're always such a generous, helpful guy. But Jim only thinks of, man, I got in this bad business relationship and I lost all this money and I feel like I can't climb out of this rut that I'm in. What would you say to that fellow who has all these objections as to why he can't move forward?
Well, I will say, first of all, it's not your fault. You have been programmed. We all have been programmed, right? I
Uh,
mean, this is life, and c'est la
yes.
vie, like we say in France, right?
Yes.
So, but here's the thing: if you know that you can do, if you understand where the cause of your problem is, and like you said it very eloquently, yeah, everything comes down to your programming
Yeah.
on a computer and in life, if I make the analogy, right? It
Yes,
just
that's right.
come down to that. And so I will say, okay, so first of all, it's not your fault, but you've got a pattern that consciously you recognize. The
Yeah.
good news, you have been, bad news if you want, you have been programmed. The very good news, we can change all that very
Yes.
quickly. Because if you do some therapy, and there's some good thing with therapy, but it's going to be only focusing on your conscious mind. So
Mm.
we really need to go to the subconscious mind level and clear all that, clear all this programming. And it doesn't take long time to do that.
Yeah.
For example, we can get rid of a negative emotion or thought in 5 minutes,
Wow.
like this.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are saying this sounds like a shut up and take my money kind of situation. But so,
That's why you
doctors,
need to try it. What do you have to lose,
yes, yes. What do you have to do? Lose. So, how can our listeners and viewers get in touch with you then?
Well, I've got a website. It's called themindclearing.com. And so you go there's a ton of information there,
Hmm.
testimonial and things like that. And you go to contact, right?
Yes.
And there's a jot form that comes up and you write down. And if you if you want to get because we can talk about things forever, but until you
Yes.
experience it, you don't know,
Right. Yeah.
and
And
that's
we need
bottom
to.
line.
Yes.
And so it's an hour treatment right with me, and you will get things 20 or 30%. I don't remember what it is, right? And
Okay.
so yeah, so it will
That's
take
good.
an hour, and you will be different.
Wow.
If you are not, fire me, no problem.
Yeah, right. Now, you've talked before, and maybe we've touched on this already, so we can always move along, but you asked this intriguing question in your work of are we fully in control of our actions, reactions, or business decisions? So, Alain, what's your answer to this, and how does it inform maybe your approach to helping people?
Yeah, we are not. Until you've got
Mm.
some negative programming, they are dictating your life, and that's
Oh,
the reality.
wow.
And so of course from life experiences, you can heal from that, but look at all the suffering, the time that
Yes.
you spend,
Yes.
and why not doing the easy way, right? Because we have been told, oh, you have to work hard and play hard and all. I say, well, yes and no, of course you have to put some work, but when you are flowing, because here's
That's
the
good.
key, the
Yeah.
flow. So you want to make sure that your thought, your emotion, your behavior, and your action are aligned. Let me give you an example. If I
Hmm.
think, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to start a diet. All right, Michael, you know what? I'm going to start a diet, right?
Yes.
And but I've got a feeling, an emotion that comes up, and basically I feel that, you know what? Last time I started a diet, I lost 20 pounds, but I gained it back in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So my emotion's not going to be aligned with my thought, right? So
Mm-hmm.
with a mind clearing, we delete that thought, right? Do some other things, right? And we realign it like that. Like that, if I've got a goal, up, my thought,
Yeah.
my emotion, my behavior and action are aligned, you're unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And if
this,
there's doubt that comes along the way, you
mm,
apply the mind clearing on that.
right. Wow. And this is like a stream. Just this past weekend I was out with my friend and his son. We were going on this long hike to a waterfall. And I noticed that so where we go, there's the trail and there's a little ditch and then there's a creek. Actually, the creek is much wider than the ditch, of course. But we noticed, oh, this is really strange. There's actually water running down the ditch. We had never seen that before. Well, lo and behold, we get up to this one spot and we see the problem. There's two beaver dams over across our creek. And we first crossed the creek when we get from the parking lot to the trailhead. And I thought, oh, that looks a little low. And we've had a lot of rain. I wonder why the flow is low. And then we got to see where, oh, there's a lot of water in this ditch. Well, that doesn't make any sense either. And then we discovered the culprits, just some beaver dams on our creek. And the creek's probably 20 feet wide. The beaver dam was probably about 36 feet wide, and they had engineered a spillway into it so water didn't go over the top. But can you talk then a little bit more about what are some signals of things that might be like that beaver dam in our life?
Yeah, I call that resistance for
Okay.
healing, resistance for achieving your goal. It's like when you start the process, right? Let's see
Yeah.
the goal process, right? So why not bringing the subconscious mind to the party, right? Okay, so
Yes.
that's your current reality, and this is A, and B is where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
So what we'll do, we'll have you to visualize where you are now, right? Or the worst case scenario, you
Yeah.
cannot reach
Yeah.
B. So you have to visualize yourself in the picture, right? Because we're
Yes.
bringing the past you, right? And I will tell you how to delete it. So it's
Okay.
basically you are doing the work in a way. We will customize the deletion or delete program to
Yeah.
you, but you're going to be the one who are going to send it. And that's going to be your picture. That picture will represent your subconscious mind at that time, right? And
Okay.
so you do the delete program. When you do the delete program, let's see that picture. I ask you, okay, from 1 to 10, how negative is that picture? You will tell me for sure 10 over 10.
Yeah.
And after 5 or 10 minutes, it's zero. It's not even
Wow.
negative. And even
Mm.
that picture may have changed and totally, right? So we do that, right? And after we'll download, you're going to visualize whatever your ideal outcome, right? To
Yeah.
reach to you are at B. You're already there. right?
Yes.
You're going to visualize that yourself, and we're going to customize the download program, right? And you're going to send it over. I'm just here to guide you.
Yes.
That's empowering you to use that technology to heal yourself.
Yeah.
And when you empower somebody to heal themselves, or transform themselves, that's the holy grail of healing to me.
Yes.
There's no better things than that.
That's right.
I'm just here to guide. And after we'll do the same with make sure that we take the first step, right?
Yes.
And
right.
we make sure that everything is clear. There's less resistance in the first step.
Yeah.
Now, when you and after I will tell
hmm
the person, right?
Yeah.
I would say, okay, take that, give me a first step that within a week, you can check if you have been successful or you have been pleased, right?
Yeah.
So let's see, maybe it's to call 10 people, right? 10 people who have been reaching that goal,
Okay.
right? And after I will get back with him or her, and he or she say, you know what? I called like 10 people. There's only 2 that answer and 1 that helped me a little bit, right? So you're kind of disappointed, right? And so we're going to release that disappointment.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're going to release the disappointment and ask the person, what is your next step? So baby step along the way. And whatever we didn't like during that step, we're just going to delete it, because those are resistance. They are like the beaver creating that,
Yeah.
preventing to flow towards your goal.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to say, hey, Mr. Beaver, can you go to another river?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's undo that stuff using the
Wow.
mind clearing, right?
Wow.
And so, because usually when you take a goal, when you start, you've got your ultimate motivation,
Yes.
right? I mean, your motivation is as high as it could be. And after you take step and it becomes harder and harder and it goes
Yeah.
down like this, right? And after, people give up, it's too hard.
Yeah.
With a mind clearing, it does the opposite. It becomes easier and easier and easier, because you clear all the obstacle, all the beaver barrier that has been
Yes.
created in your mind or in your outside world, and it becomes easier and easier to accomplish your goal. And you go
Wow.
much faster. And in the same time, you become the best version of yourself. We cannot differentiate professional and personal development. They go hands to hand.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so this would even be, so if some people are trying to manifest and create some things in their lives, they might not actually be achieving those, let's say, those goals, because maybe there's a critical flaw that they haven't identified yet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which is basically a limiting belief. If a limiting belief says, no, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen.
Yes. Or people might say, well, I'm just not worthy of this. This is my lot in life. And we've been having a great conversation. I love this. I was thinking about how, like Jesus Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yeah.
And and this just reinforces that thought that he's talking about your subconscious. And there's all this physical around, and we think that's 100% or maybe 90%. We have no idea that this kingdom within us. And even how you talked about those years of 0 to 8 or 0 to 7. And even Jesus talked about entering the kingdom as a little child.
Yeah, with the eyes of a child, for sure.
And there's a lot of great stuff. And then there's also that programming that we talked about.
Yeah. Do you want me to elaborate about that? The spirituality?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the way I see things, okay?
Okay.
So let's pretend there's the sun and it's God.
Yes,
right?
okay.
And the spark of the sun creates your spirit.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's all pure love, right? There's no judgment. It's all pure love. And after you've got the sky, and after you've got the physical Alain and Michael,
yes.
right? And so some people, the sky there's so many clouds, they say, there's no sun. The sun doesn't exist. I never saw the sun, right? Yeah. And so what are those clouds? They are those programming that are disconnecting you from your spirit, right?
Yeah.
And so when you start to get rid of some limiting belief or negative programming, now you get rid of the cloud, right? And now you can have a glimpse at the sun. Now you can feel the warmth of the sun. And of course, you love it. It's so cool. It's pure love. And so you start to get rid of more cloud and more limiting belief. And after you realize that you are a spirit having a physical experience, right?
Yes.
Because
Right.
you get a better connection to your spirit and, of course, to God.
Yes.
And after, it's a game changer.
It is.
Things will always be different after. And after you realize that you are not only 5 or 10% what you have been told, you're not
Yeah.
only flesh and bone, you are like a spirit
Yes.
living a physical experience.
Yes. And
And
if
that's a game changer.
it is. And I just was in all these different levels that we have, different levels we can go up or left or right, but also even who we are and how, we refer to like a man and a woman coming together as making love, like generating love. And so if we have the fruit of our loins and the fruit of our lips, the fruit of our hands, and you were talking, the reason I'm mentioning this is we're talking about that spark of life that comes. And this idea that we're programmed to keep us into a confined cage almost, where we
Yes.
don't know that we have this potential. But ladies and gentlemen, we have the potential to actually create the environment of this pure love and this spark of life. And that's just one spark of life. Could you talk maybe a little bit more about, well, you could jump off anywhere on what I was saying, but that spark of life and the power that we actually have as humans to create outside of a cage or a label?
Yeah. And first of all, what I want to say, we are truly spiritual beings.
Yes.
We've got our higher self, we've got that connection with God, right?
Yeah.
And so, and yes, those program, they can keep us disconnected, right? Not
Yes.
feeling love, which is like the universal energy in my book, right? And
Yes.
so that's very important to understand that. And so, can you repeat the second, the question
Yes,
after?
just that power that we have, we're kept confined in cages and by labels. But yet we have this, I don't see why it's not infinite. We have this infinite ability to create.
Yeah.
And so how do we get out of that cage or that now maybe they are the limiting beliefs and that programming, and maybe
Yes.
that's just it.
Yeah, because there's different way if you want to do black and white kind of things, right?
Yes,
There's
right.
either you're a creator or you're a victim. Depends how you see yourself.
Yes.
So again, if you see yourself as a victim, you're a
Wow.
victim of circumstances. You have no control. There's nothing you can do to change it, and you just go where the winds blow you, right? And so
Yes.
and you are highly reactive to your environment.
Mm.
Or if you see yourself as a creator, you've got that inner peace that come with it because we even
Yeah.
didn't touch that yet. But you've
Yes.
got that inner peace, you've got that open heart also that is there. And so you are more in touch with, higher level of consciousness and
Yes.
with God, right? And so after everything become easier and you understand that God is working through you,
Yes.
right? And you're a co-creator in a way,
Yes,
right? Or a
that's right.
creator, whatever you want
Yep.
to call it, right? But that's how it works. And so when you've
Yeah.
got that realization, I mean, you're not as reactive. That. You've got more
Yes.
peace of mind. Your heart is getting open. Your behavior totally changed because
Yes.
you connected to that higher power that is truly
Mm.
a part of yourself.
Yes.
And you don't feel disconnected.
That's right. And so many of us could feel like we're a victim to different circumstances. And maybe that's why we overeat, or that's why we smoke, or that's why we can maybe consume pharmaceuticals that aren't good for us. But so just as then just a little question. So let's say someone's listening to this and they've been on that yo-yo diet cycle that we're programmed and advertised to. And now they want to have us take certain pharmaceuticals that this will fix your problem, ladies
Oof.
and gentlemen. And so, are there even a couple of simple steps maybe you could whet the appetite, so to speak, of someone who wants to get off the crazy train of diets and obesity?
All right, before I talk about that, I want to say something that is
Okay.
important because life by itself, everything is a vibration, is a wave. Like
Yeah.
the atom, the
Yeah.
cells are all that, we just cannot perceive it, but everything vibrates, even wood, everything.
Yeah.
And so what does it mean? It means there's a positive and negative. Doesn't mean good and bad, by the way.
Okay.
So, but in life is never going to be like the Walt Disney story, oh, and they will be married, they marry and be happy ever after.
Yes.
It's not possible. And we all know that's not how life works. So what I wanted to say about that, if you live your life as a creator, right, you will
Uh,
understand that the things that are more challenging, they are there. They're showing you what you have to work on.
Hmm.
They are gift for you to be able to change and transform yourself. If you don't know what to change, how can you do that? And that's how
Yes.
we create. Let me explain a little bit
Yes.
better. So
Okay.
there's a tree, right? And the
Okay.
tree make a fruit, right? And after the fruits fall down and go, so this is the light, right? It's all under the light, we can see it, right? And after, so that's the first part of that wave, right? And after the tree goes down and go into the earth to be
Mm.
created as
Mm.
another tree.
Yeah.
So the creation process comes from the darkness and doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
Like a baby, like where the mother holds the baby, it's in the darkness.
Yeah.
That's how we make babies, right?
Yes,
So
that's
you need
right.
the masculine and the feminine, and that create the baby, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at your body the same way, your thought, it's about peace of mind. We are men, we know how important it is,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that's masculine, right?
Hmm.
And after the heart feeling is more feminine, right?
Yeah.
And after your belly, your gut, what we call the hara, right?
Yes.
It's the combination of the masculine and feminine. And that's why you get birth, the woman get birth in the womb,
Yeah.
inside in the darkness. Let me explain some with using American expression.
Okay.
So peace of mind, masculine, right?
Yeah.
I follow my heart, feminine, right? And
Yeah.
after in the belly, Michael had the gut feeling that
Yeah.
his podcast really will help a lot of people, feminine. Michael had the gut to start that podcast and do it. Action, masculine.
Yeah.
You see, and that's the combination. The combination of your mind and your heart, combination of mind and your heart, create your behavior and your action.
Wow.
And you create with your action.
Yes.
You see, and so when everything is all aligned,
Hmm.
thought, feeling, and behavior and action, boom, that's how you can create.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It sure does. And it just shows why the male and female, just like a mathematical equation, each side is just as important and has so much value, and yet they both need to completely come together and to the essence of all of them to come in and to create and to build. It's just
Do you want
it's
me to illustrate that even
yeah.
more?
Yeah, go for
Okay,
it.
so here's the thing I see it, right? And so the mind is how you do things.
Hmm.
Your heart is why you're doing things. And after what you're doing, it's what you create.
Yeah.
So that's the how, the why, and the what,
Yeah.
right? In your body. I don't know if people could
Yeah,
see
no,
me,
that's
but
great.
I
Yes.
just direct on that. So the why is so important. The feminine, your feminine aspect is so important because it's your intention and your purpose.
Yeah.
Your purpose in life is why you do what you do,
Yeah.
right? This is the most important thing. That's why, some people sometimes they get lost in their purpose and things like that. And so that's the first thing we do. Let's find out at different level, right?
Hmm.
Not, for example, they told me, "Oh, okay, I want $5 million. Okay, what are you going to do with $5 million? Why you want? That's the best question ever, the why.
Yeah.
Why you want to do that, right? And so you start to dig a little bit, and after you find out what is the true purpose,
Yes. Yeah.
And so the purpose is the fire, and the log to feed the fire is the action.
Yeah. Wow. So good. So much good information here. So let's just to think about friends of ours who are entrepreneurs and they have a lot of ambition, but how do they balance that ambition and that goal setting with the kind of presence and that maybe there's some disconnection that's necessary for well-being?
Oh, that's such a good question. But first of all, you want to make sure that you got your purpose right.
Hmm.
Right? You're doing this for what? What is it, the reason, right? For me, my purpose has been given is to help people. That's it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I had that. I mean, I got lucky, right? I mean, I'm blessed, right? So
Yeah.
I knew it, right? And after, whatever. But so I would say, okay, let's make sure we've got the purpose right, right? That you know exactly, you know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can be ambitious, right? But you need to have your purpose right, right? So it's not never about money. I know it sounds
Yeah.
crazy, but because it's the essence of who you were designed to do.
Yes.
That's your
Yes.
purpose,
That's
right?
right.
And so we'll figure it out. And after we go and we integrate that purpose into the business, right? And so
Yes.
like that, they are more aligned with the universe and God when it's like this,
Yes.
right? To start with. The problem, I did burn out. I know what I'm talking about. I lived it, right? I had,
Yeah.
health issue, I had prosperity issue, I had relationship issue, all of it within a year, right? And so what is very important is just to understand that all the things along the way, first of all, to have a creator mindset, right? So the creator
Yeah.
mindset is like all the things that are in my way and that no, I don't even call that problem, I call that challenges are there for a good reason. It's for me to grow.
Amen
It's
to
an
that.
opportunity to grow. And
Yeah.
after, when you use the mind clearing, you can cruise through that. Remember, we take the example that going exponentially high instead of going
Yeah.
exponentially low. So it doesn't have to be hard. And so people sometimes they say, what do you mean doesn't have? Well, when you're flowing, okay, if you're going against the river, right, you're going to like, oh my goodness, you're going to swim. I used to be a swimmer. You're going to
Okay.
swim like crazy, right? And you're gonna make maybe like you're gonna go like 2 or 3 yards, right? And you're gonna be exhausted, right?
Yeah.
That's the hard way. But if you're going with the flow, oof, it's gonna be very easy. And if you see an obstacle or a challenge, you can avoid it or go around it or
Yeah.
whatever and deal with it at
Yes.
ease.
Yes. Yeah. And that seeing that I like how you reframe the words that they're challenges. And of course, one of the things that I love to do is get on my pedal bike, my road bike and go for an hour or so in the mornings. And so there's a route that I have. And part of the route is an enormous hill. And it's often because I'm going towards the mountains, it's into the wind. And so like I used to
But
have to
what was gonna make you better?
yeah, the wind
The
and
wind and the hill,
the hill.
the
And
challenge.
that first time that I could first off get to the waypoint without stopping into the wind. Boy, that sure lit a fire under me. But then as I continued to face the resistance, then I could get up that massive hill, never stopping. And then I could get up that hill not having to do so many gear changes.
And maybe after, you can be happier, you can be more connected to your kids or grandkids or whatever,
Yeah.
because now you're in better shape. You can appreciate life. Everything become easier in your life and all that.
Hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah, that's very good. So, just as we're ending off our conversation, I can't believe we're getting to the close. I just looked at the time and I thought, boy, how
I
can it
know.
go by so fast? But those man-made human-made constraints, we could say. So then looking forward, how do you see your goal and success clearing system maybe evolving to address some unique challenges that maybe moms, dads, or entrepreneurs maybe face in the coming years?
Well, it's going to go to the source, the root cause of your problem, right? So you want to
Yeah.
get rid of that, right? And after you want to make sure that you download what you want, so to be positive, and it keep you
Yeah.
positive all the time. The self-doubt are melting away and all that, right? Because
Yes.
that's what we do. All those resistance, they go away. But if it's not if, it's when you encounter obstacle and
Hmm.
resistance, right? I mean, you can literally like with a river, you can see that
Yeah.
coming and just deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to say, it doesn't have to be hard. What you have to understand that I'm a chiropractic physician also, right? So I've got two
Yes.
programs. One is the goal and success clearing for coaches and health professionals. We want to learn that system and can
Hmm.
apply that to themselves, right? Like that they can be successful, but they can use that system to help their clients, right? If they
Yeah.
if they are
Right.
stuck or whatever, right? But also, I'm a body worker, right? I created my own energy technique and all that. So I created also the mind body or the body clearing, right?
Hmm.
And the body clearing is about treating pain,
Yes.
especially long term pain and stress. So you will see some, I need to upload more testimonial, but I'll
That'd be
do it.
good.
But yeah, yeah. And you will see like TMJ pain, neck pain going away in a couple of visits.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just
Yes.
reprogramming the mind. Doing that
Yes.
over the internet, like I talking to you, we do the reprogramming. Why? Because that's the patient or the client who's reprogramming
Yeah.
himself or herself.
That's
I'm
right.
just here to guide and to help. That's it.
Yes. And I have heard that like for example, trauma or
Yeah.
past hurts can lodge inside your body.
Yes.
And
That's
so
a
then
mind body connection.
that's right. And so just as we have a very short period of time left, can you kind of just touch on how those things that happen to us can actually find a place to make a habitation in our
All
body?
right. The easy, fast answer to that, when you tighten your mind, you're going to be tight in your body.
Yeah.
When your mind is under stress, your body is going to reflect that. So you're going to have some emotion that can be
Mm.
trapped. You can have some thought. But really, what I want to explain the cascade because I think it's important. So let's visualize a triangle, right? Inside the triangle, you've got the negative programming, right? And let's
Yeah.
pretend I'm a loser. That's my. I've been
Yes.
told by my family member, whatever. I am a loser. So on top of a triangle, it's my thought. I'm going to think I'm a loser. On the bottom right of the triangle, it's my emotion and feeling. I'm going to feel. So if I think I'm a loser, I'm going to feel like I'm a loser. And after, if I go to the left side of the triangle, it's going to be my behavior and action, right?
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to behave like a loser.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have loser result. And because I've got loser result, I'm going to feel even more like a loser. I'm
Yeah.
going to think, man, I knew I was a loser, but such a loser. And
Yeah.
that's going to reinforce that program. I've called that the subconscious stress loop. And we've got a ton of loop like that running behind the scene, dictating our present and molding our future.
Wow. Well, Dr. Salas, what a delightful conversation. Thank you so much
I
for
really
joining
enjoy
me.
it. Thank you. Thank you for being open minded and listening to me. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
man. What a wonderful conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember that you can connect with Dr. Salas. His website is themindclearing.com. Head over there and there's some great information that's going to benefit you and it's going to clear up some stinking thinking. And he'll have some information that's just for this 5 a.m. audience. So thank you again, Dr. Salas, for being here. It's been great to have you.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed that conversation. Thank
Oh
you so
yeah,
much.
we will have to do this again in a
Sure.
little while. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for you too being here in this conversation and listening in. And please remember to share this with your friends that you think are going to profit and enjoy this conversation. And of course, thanks for those friends that have gone over to buymeacoffee.com/5am podcast. We do appreciate you being here and all the love and support that you show us each week through social media and through email and comments and other things like that. So until next time, please seize your day, enjoy those sunrises and sunsets, and all those wonderful adventures in between. I'm Michael Klassen. Before we wrap up today's conversation, I want to share an exciting opportunity with our 5 a.m. community. We're expanding our reach with more FM radio, cable TV, and Roku TV to bring these life-changing conversations to even more people seeking transformation and momentum in their lives. Your support, whether it's just the price of a coffee or something more, directly impacts our ability to create more content, improve our production quality, and reach those who need these messages the most. When you support us at buymeacoffee.com/5am podcast, you're not just donating, you're joining our builder circle, and you're helping expand this community so more people can hear these encouraging conversations.